Things to do when high. Episode 1. The aquarium. Depending on when this video comes out, I'm just gonna say last week. Last week, it was 420, and me and a couple of my friends made plans to go to the aquarium and get high as fuck. One of my favorite things to do when I'm high is watch nature documentaries like Ponyo and Luca. I'm kidding. I just like watching anything that has water. I like watching anything that's centered around the ocean and sea creatures, and going to the aquarium is like the real life version of that. I would think that because I don't like the ocean, that looking at sea creatures while I'm high would be really distressing, but I really love the ocean. I love nature. I love looking at it. I think it's just marvelous. Crazy how there's so much biodiversity in the ocean. I love going to the aquarium. It's so peaceful and tranquil, whether I'm sober or high, but I really enjoy it. I don't enjoy the beach though, or swimming in the ocean. The monkey part of my brain is convinced that Godzilla is just waiting below the surface, contemplating the best way to eat me alive. And so I don't fuck with the beach, but I love the aquarium, man. It's so great. If you have an aquarium where you live, go see it. It's so fun. It just so happens that I live in Georgia, so I have access to the Georgia aquarium. And not to brag or anything, but it's like the biggest aquarium ever or something. I have to fact check that. It's there's something about it's big. I think the actual biggest aquarium is in Thailand, but future chaotic will figure that out. Thank you, future chaotic. It was me and 4 of my friends, and to give you an idea of how high I was, I need glasses desperately to see. If I don't have glasses, it just kind of looks like a Monet painting that got smeared. So I took off my glasses and everything looked so crisp. I was convinced I would be able to drive without my glasses. That's how high I was. The road trip is already really fun. I kind of can't hear anything because the car is really loud and the music's loud and everyone's talking to each other. I was listening to music and also listening to Seth Rogen's audiobook, which is really funny, and I'm not even halfway through it. It's pretty good. We were worried that we weren't going to get there on time because traffic. I don't know if you know anything about Atlanta, but so we get to the aquarium and I'm just happy to be in air conditioning. I already feel great. We're walking around and I have my headphones in because I have sensory issues. It's really hard for me to listen to crowds and like all the individual noises. This can be really distressing and overwhelming. So I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to the Ponyo soundtrack and the Luca soundtrack, and I'm also listening to this aquarium playlist. And the best word I can think of for what I was feeling was euphoric. I just felt like this is exactly where I need to be. This is what my life's about. Being able to experience things with my friends and having these new experiences and watching everybody and like seeing how great nature is and all of these different life forms just existing, and they've evolved to live in this space. It was crazy. I was just standing in front of the aquarium just watching them go by. It was so peaceful, and God, it was such an amazing feeling. I saw several families who were together, and I saw like a brief moment of them interacting with each other. Like I saw this one very old woman. She kind of reminded me of Coco from Coco. she was just very old, and I was like, that is so cool that, you know, it doesn't matter how old we get, like we can always experience new things. And there was this tiny little girl, like just learned how to walk, and she was watching this fish, and her parents were taking pictures of her watching the fish, and it was cool. It's like seeing all these different people of all these different ages have the same reaction to the same thing, having like similar reactions and having the same experience at the same time. It was really beautiful. The reaction being, look at the fish, look at the fish. Another thing that is really cool about being high at the aquarium is, for me personally, because cannabis affects everybody differently. But the reason why I like taking cannabis before I go out to social places is because interacting with new people is something that has always been really challenging for me, and it can be really distressing, and I'm always hyper analyzing every single thing that I say or do. I have like a little script that I rehearse in my head before I go to talk to somebody who I don't know, and sometimes even people I know. But there were several people who are, I don't know if you'd call them guides, but they were people who worked at the aquarium and would give you information about the sea creatures in the aquarium, and they would give you like facts and like directions on whether or not you could use flash photography and stuff like that. And sometimes they would come out of their spot and they would like just be biased, like they were there in case you had any questions. And me, I'm dumb and curious, so I had a lot of questions, and normally I would be in my head and I'd be thinking how I was gonna fuck it up, and I'd be thinking like, this person's at work, like I don't need to bother them. But all that goes away when you're high, at least for me. So one of my favorite things that happened that day is this person came up from their chair and they were beside me, and we were watching the sharks, and sharks are so cool. They had some hammerheads, they had a tiger shark, they had a black tip shark that had an attitude. Fuck that guy. He just charged at my friend for no fucking reason. He like looked at them and then aggressively swam towards them, like they like what are you gonna do? There's like 17 inches of acrylic right here. Like what are you gonna do? Fucking attitude having. Anyway, came by us, and I turned to them and I said, hey, do all these sharks exist in the wild together? And she said, oh yeah, like they exist. They don't interact like this, but yeah, they live in the same location. And I said, oh, that's really cool. And then she started telling me about the different sharks and how their oldest shark is this hammerhead shark named Ditzy, and the reason she's called Ditzy is because she has a neurological disorder, and she swims in circles because her nervous system doesn't work correctly. And I thought that was really cool. And then I asked them, what's your favorite shark fact? And they thought about it, and they told me, warning ahead, this might be like the most vile thing ever. But it was so cool, and I love being able to have my freaking filters off so that I can ask questions, because I love learning about this shit, and I love it when people tell me about shit they're interested in. Like, I thought that it was gonna be some basic, like, oh, I really like how, sharks can never stop swimming, or like, I like how they just keep having teeth, just a surplus of teeth all day, every day. I like how they have teeth. But no, they told me that sharks, when they need to relieve themselves, their entire gut just comes out of their body and it releases that way. Like, they don't actually poop, it comes like inside out. And it was so insane, and like, I didn't even react to it. I was just like, oh my god, that's so interesting, like, thank you so much for sharing that with me, that's so cool. And we took a bathroom break, and then we got Dippin' Dots, and I was so excited to get Dippin' Dots because here's the thing. As a child, because of enrichment and your parents not wanting you to be a total screw up, usually you'll be able to go to outings. This isn't true for everybody, but there's also a lot of field trips. And on those field trips and those outings, you have access to Dippin' Dots. Sometimes. So there's this conundrum of when you're a child, you don't have money, but you have more access to Dippin' Dots. But when you're an adult, you have less access to Dippin' Dots because you are not in places where Dippin' Dots are most often. Most of the time, you're at work or you're doing chores. You can't just go on an outing every single day. So when you have access to Dippin' Dots, you have to take it because you never know when you're going to have access to Dippin' Dots again. So I was waiting. There was a family who was at this Dippin' Dots machine for like 10 minutes and I was just staring them down from across the lobby or whatever it's called. I was just waiting. I was watching. I was patient. And then my friend comes out from the bathroom and says, "What are you doing? Why are you looking at them?" And I said, "I'm waiting for the Dippin' Dots machine." And she was like, "Isn't there one right there?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So I go over and I get it. And the Dippin' Dots machine has this little suction cup thing. And I know that this sounds incredibly boring, but when you're high as fuck, it's so cool. They have like this little robot arm suction cup thing that goes, the little cooler opens and it goes and gets the Dippin' Dots and it grabs it. I had the rainbow one. It was really good. I really wanted cookies and cream, but they were out. Even though I saw one in the cooler, it kept telling me to make another selection. So I got the rainbow and it was really fun. Made me feel like a kid again. It was so, God, it was so good. I can't wait to get more Dippin' Dots. I love Dippin' Dots. When you're high, love yourself. Do yourself a favor and get some Dippin' Dots. They're so just, ugh. And then my other friend was like, "Did you really just pay $6 for that?" I'm like, I don't care. Life is short and I can't take money with me. You know what I can take? The memory of tasting these Dippin' Dots. So then we saw the whale shark, which is my favorite thing in the entire aquarium. And there were two. I love to see the whale sharks because number one, I love whale sharks, and number two, I love manta rays. Anything that like does this motion, delicious. I'm not eating them. It's just so, I love watching that. And we had just got done seeing the jellyfish, and I love the jellyfish, but this was like jellyfish plus 3, next level jellyfish with the manta rays and the whale sharks. And there was a sea turtle, and the aquarium was so big, I just felt engulfed. I just felt taken away by the beauty of the world and nature. And I was like, I'm a part of this. Like, we're all just little guys. That's so stupid, but that's what I thought. I was like, we're all just here in our little habitats, in our little enclosures. And I saw the fish looking at me while I was looking at it, and I was like, I wonder if I'm the aquarium for the fish. Like, I wonder if the fish is getting the same experience watching me as I am watching it. And then I was like, don't think about that. You're gonna go crazy. And so I didn't. So I shut that down. And we looked at some of the freshwater stuff. We saw the freshwater stingrays and the touch take. And I really like the touch take because when I was a kid, it used to be you could just kind of touch them, and I kind of felt bad because it was really easy to touch them, but they changed the tanks where they have a main area where the guys can just chill, and then if they want to come to you and get touched, they'll come to you. And there was this lovely little lady. She wasn't little, actually. She was she was huge. She was like a giant pancake. Her name was Patricia, and she slowly came up and she stopped by every single one of my friends. Like, she would stop in front and we would slowly pet her with our 2 fingers, and then she would slowly move over to the next person. It was like she was vibe checking each one of us. It was so cute. After we were done, we went to go get Korean barbecue, and I did have a good time, but I'm gonna talk about that in my things you shouldn't do while you're high. So if you want to hear that story, let me know. I know that this was kind of rambly, but I just had such a great experience and I wanted to share it. If you're wondering where my sketchbook tour video is, well, so am I. I have that video on my phone, but it says that it's not actually on my phone and that I have to download it. So whenever I go to download it, tells me the download is unsuccessful, and when I try to put it in my editing software, it just loads and it doesn't stop. And then sometimes it'll stop, but it doesn't show up as a new project. So I can watch the video on my phone, but the video doesn't exist on my phone. Mercury is truly in retrograde, and I'm sorry. When I first started, I was doing like a video a week, but that's kind of super unrealistic. Maybe I will get back to that point, but I think I'm gonna stick with a video every 2 weeks. Thank you guys for sticking around and for watching up until this point. This video is sponsored by my friend Slumber. They're not paying me, I just like them. This is her YouTube channel. She does like ASMR story times. I put one on the other night and it put me to sleep real fast. Would recommend. And then this video is also sponsored by my friend Aided Squash. He does streams kind of whenever he can. He's in a similar situation to me where like he has to work, and this is just kind of something he does for fun. But you can follow him on Twitch and watch him whenever he streams. He does mainly Pokemon games, and it's fun. We have a good time. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Chaotic, the caffeinated ghost who hides your matches when you're about to light up, but makes sure that your stash is never empty. Alright, bye guys. Have a great day.